Extraction shooters, the next evolution of multiplayer gaming technology. Do you like the helmet? You better, because it's really hurting my ears already after 5 minutes of wearing it. But seriously, I'm gonna drop the voice. I'm stoked about this game. Ark Raiders, man. Embark, you freaking done it again. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of the finals. I just made a video about it, even before the mainstream caught wind of how underrated that game was, okay? I did it first, and you freaking know it. But I'm cool.
I know Ark Raiders has like kind of quickly become one of the biggest games in gaming history, it seems like. But just in case you don't know about the game at all, let me get everybody on the same page. Ark Raiders is a new game made by Embark that's set in a post-apocalyptic future where we all live underground, and a select few of us, called Raiders, go up to the surface and gather gear and fight robots called Ark. And you also fight other humans, which I'm not sure how that gels with the lore of like us all living in harmony together underneath, and then we go up to the surface when there's a bloodbath between us. I haven't really done a deep dive on that part yet, but you fight, you search for loot, you gather it, and you go back down below with as big of a stash as you can carry. As far as gameplay, the extraction shooter means that you basically take a gamble on yourself every time you enter the world. You select the gear that you want to take into the danger zone. That might give you the edge in a fight, but that also means that you can lose all that gear in a fight.
Wait, that might be me that you're shooting. It wasn't.
There's also a bunch of different quests that you can complete and a skill tree that you can level up through, and that is the general game loop of Ark Raiders.
Now, I know that there's the argument to say that the extraction shooter genre, which is what Ark Raiders is categorized under, is oversaturated. Now, I've looked at a lot of Reddits and even asked close gaming friends, hey, can you name a few extraction shooters for me? And the most anyone's gotten up to is 3. Is that what we're calling oversaturated right now? The examples are always number 1, Escape from Tarkov, which just got like mainstream release, being put on the Steam page for the first time in 6 years or whatever. The second one is Hunt Showdown, which I love, and it was the second game I actually reviewed on this channel. Very underrated as well. And the third example of extraction shooters I hear are like usually a Russian name or a game I haven't heard of. Those are the main 2. Quickly, people get into like weird examples like Helldivers 2. I'm like, that's not an extraction shooter. Like, did the release of Escape from Duckov push us into oversaturated territory? If that's the case, then call me wrong.
I feel like what Embark is really good at doing is finding these gaming holes in the gaming industry. Like with the finals, they harnessed all this advancements in technology and actually put it into a game where in real time there's fully destructible environments to a crazy degree.
Which I really wanted to see in Battlefield 6, by the way, as just a side note. I really like Battlefield 6. I think gamers are eating well nowadays, which is fantastic. But I thought there was gonna be a lot more destruction. Battlefield 6, no offense, you know, I still play it a lot, but it's, am I crazy? Is it that much better looking than Battlefield 4? And it's been like 13 years. Anyway, not important.
And with Ark Raiders, I feel like they took a look at the landscape of all the extraction shooters and realized that it's kind of hard to come by a pretty easily accessible one. Most of them are really hardcore. I'm looking at you, Escape from Tarkov. By the way, while I was writing this video, I looked at like 10 Twitch streams of Escape from Tarkov, and no joke, every single one I clicked on was just a guy sorting through his inventory.
It is hilarious. I'm looking at all of these streams, just trying to find some gameplay of, and everyone's either in a loading screen or in their bag. No one's doing anything interesting. I don't want to watch 8 minutes of ads, so I think I got enough examples.
Like, look, I love the Burnt Peanut and all of his clips from Escape from Tarkov.
I'm going in! Make peace with your god, motherfucker! Cause you're seeing him right now!
But don't let that fool you into thinking that game is all gas, no brakes, comedy moments, and excitement. No, it's a lot of walking around for a very long time, going through a tedious, extremely tedious inventory system, and hearing a distant gunshot, and all of a sudden the screen goes black and you're dead.
Sick.
Right off the rip, this game is just good at setting the tone. I mean, like, its tutorial is fantastic. Not to sound like every gamer journalist in history, but it is a very immersive experience. It's very ominous, and the ambiance sets in. There's wind, there's a giant arc in the background just slowly walking, and you're like, holy crap, is that what we're up against here? You end up getting, like, surprise sniped by another raider, which you're like, hang on, is this tutorial PvP? Am I in a lobby right now? And then a couple of actual ragamuffins come over and freaking knock you out and steal your gear, and you might question to yourself, am I so bad at video games that I just failed a tutorial? I've talked about Ark Raiders with a lot of people now, and I feel like everybody has moments to share from the game. This game is amazing at generating cinematic gamer moments, butt-clenching moments, BCMs as they've been referred to on the channel. And I think it has to do with a multitude of things, but I think number one is the way the players interact with each other. I feel like everybody has a microphone in this game. People talk to each other all the time, and it makes for these dramatic moments where you have to trust a stranger all of a sudden. And you guys could go through an entire run together and get a ton of great loot, and at the last moment before extraction, the other person could turn the gun on the other guy and betray them and then get out of the lobby and never see him again. We refer to these as black hat moments.
I'm gonna go hit the button. Oh, it's already hit. You ass. Oh my gosh. That's so annoying. I mean, I hit it. Is there a chance that this thing goes up? Please, Rocketeer, don't continue to kill me. Don't be lame. Don't be lame.
Alright, let's go, buddy.
Let's go.
Back to Speranza.
I want to murder that guy's whole existence. Ooh. That's gonna give me anger management.
Speaking of black hat activities, let's go do one and prank my dad into doing the ad read for today's sponsor, FlexiSpot.
This is changing them over to rolling carts now rather than those fixed baskets.
This is what my dad was using before the desk chair. So this is the C7 Max chair. His chair was absolutely falling apart.
Well, this is much better than that one. I'll tell you that. The seat is much better. It's
Fully intact,
yeah,
no
it's in
tatters or
great
tears.
shape, yeah.
How long have you been using it for?
I've had it for a year.
Yeah, it looks brand new, baby.
Yep.
I actually used this chair for a little bit before giving it to him, but this is where it resides now. How many hours would you say you're
I sit in
sitting?
it probably a good 7 to 8 hours a day.
Not a hard worker. No, okay. Now it also has lumbar support. You know, some people talk about lumbar support, but you know what the real kicker is that scapula support, and that also is. Am I saying scapula right? Sorry, not scapula. Your sacrum. How's your sacrum support on this thing? How's your booty?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, yeah. It's very nice.
So sorry, I have to do it for the ad. I have to ask you about your sacrum. How are the adjustments? Has it met your needs?
Yeah, well, these are the things that I adjust the most. The up and down. They pivot all over the place.
One size does fit all here.
Yeah.
With these 5D armrests. Not even 3D. We're way past 4D. We're in the 5th dimension with these babies.
Yeah, so it's got a nice.
There's a bunch of different adjustments here. You can move the headrest, you can move the backrest. Kind of a hidden feature here if you're a taller guy. Boom. It's even got a lounge mode. Flip this out. Sorry, I'm sitting in this dirty outfit. Unlocked, ready for relaxation. The chair's really got everything. And honestly, what I love about doing this video is the fact that you genuinely do brag about this chair a lot. He likes it a lot.
I do.
Even if you don't love it as much as my dad, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, along with a 10-year warranty for any damaged parts in the chair.
FlexiSpot is also having their Black Friday sale right now, where you can enjoy up to 80% off discounts and use my exclusive code C730 to get an additional $30 off your order.
Thank you for helping me out with that ad, Dad. Put her there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, put her there. FlexiSpot, go check him out. Now, back to Ark Raiders. He totally fell for it. I just pranked my dad into doing an advertisement for me that I'm making money off of. When I originally saw that the PvE elements were gonna be fighting Arks, these robots, I wasn't too sure if I'd like it because I like blood. I find it really satisfying to kill
other humans in video games. Jeez, this sounds really weird. Basically, I thought shooting robots was gonna be like slapping steel at 50 meters away and just like target practice between PvP fights. I thought that was actually gonna be like the least satisfying part of this game. But man, did they do the robots right in this game. The way they take damage and dismantle is so satisfying, and the explosions, and again, the sound design. I'm gonna mention sound design like a million times in this game because holy cow, did they do a great job.
Suck it, gearhead.
They've mastered how to make killing robots satisfying. Also, I love the alarm sounds and the activations of Ark. When small ones start pursuing you, the high-pitched rapid beeping, or the freaking giant futuristic dinosaur-like roars that some of the bigger ones let off are so daunting.
They're just such a ever-present threat around you that can turn the tide of a battle. You could be fighting a group of 3, but all of a sudden 5 Ark fly around them and take them out without you having to do anything. And my favorite cinematic moments involve some of the bigger Arks that just jump into battle, especially the one I think people refer to it as legs. I have a great recording of me and my friend Spencer playing the game together where we see one of these. We hadn't fought one before, so we didn't know we were getting ourselves into. We start fighting it. Other players show up and start fighting us. We say, hey, chill out, we're not the enemy here.
We're killing this robot, give us a second.
And then the spider starts fighting them, they run, and then it locks back onto us. But at some point, Spencer gets down. I almost leave without him because I think he's fully dead. Turns out he's not, he's just on his last limb. So right as I'm about to leave, I bail out at the last second and go run after his body. And with barely any ammo remaining, we end up fighting the spider legs Ark, and I run out to my last bullet and kill it with a hammer.
Yes! Yes! I meleeed it!
That's the kind of intense battles that we're talking about here. Also, when we're talking about legs, there's something about the procedural animation of the way it moves. Like it launches itself towards you and it can hit things on its way over to you and it kind of like grabs onto them. It's wild to see, and it makes for such a authentic cinematic experience instead of like a setup set piece.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god! He stinks, dude!
It jumps like a football field.
You'll recognize right away that obviously the graphics are good, but I feel like with the emerging technologies with like Unreal Engine, most indie games can look really realistic too nowadays. Ark is made with Unreal Engine, but unlike a lot of Unreal Engine games, it's actually really performant for some computers. I'm not saying that every computer can run it really well, but the game is just drop dead gorgeous. It's a freaking visual marvel. The first few maps are great. Beaver Dam or whatever. Sorry, that's where I grew up in Wisconsin. Whatever it's called, Dam something. The buried city is really cool, but the visuals really step up once you get to the Blue Gate. I feel like I'm in like a Witcher game that just happens to be a post-apocalyptic world now. and just the lighting is fantastic. And going back ambiance and that immersion, there's just incredible sound design, which is very important in this PvP, you know, tension building game. You're constantly listening to sounds. Like it's like, I mean, you're becoming like partially schizophrenic because you're listening to so many sounds. You just start hallucinating them being there. Whether it's an Ark sound or just rain, gunfire in the distance. Was that a flare?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
There's also a lot of visuals with all this too. There's flares that light up the sky, letting you know that you might want to stay away from there because a regular human PvP player just died. And on top of all of that, the world is just packed with detail. There's different types of biomes, there's different types of rooms that you go into, there's residential, there's industrial, there's workshops, there's scientific laboratories. I just can't fathom the amount of objects that they had to create for this game. It's wild. And you can search most of them and open drawers, desks, doors, everything. It's nuts. And that all makes an amazing setting to start fighting each other in. So,
Let's talk combat.
Great.
Yeah, that was good.
That was great, yeah.
I really like the TTK, time to kill. It's a hard thing to balance in a lot of these games because, for instance, if you get too much shields, you can't like snipe somebody in the head. That is definitely the case in Ark Raiders. You can't one-shot kill somebody majority of the time unless they don't have a shield, which only the guy that recorded the IGN video doesn't have a shield when he's in this game.
This is a game so unabashedly tied to its progenitors that the hero's default melee weapon is a pickaxe, the same weapon Fortnite metaverse heroes dropping off of battle buses lug into combat. That's a cute enough homage.
But breaking shields and the items to get them back are very satisfying, and I feel like they're personally really balanced. It gives players the ability to start a fight and end it without anybody dying. It makes people get really clever and be able to escape situations by juking people out or losing line of sight and then losing them completely. But it also gives you enough time to execute somebody if you really get the jump on them. This is also one of the first games that I feel like smoke grenades are actually useful. Like I feel like, you know, I never use a smoke grenade in like Battlefield 6 or something like that, but smoke grenades grenades, holy cow. You can use it to run away in Arc Raiders. For extraction points, it's perfect to set down, and I'm pretty sure it also confuses the arcs. I actually find myself picking a smoke grenade every now and then over a fragmentation grenade for one of the first times in video game history. I think the guns aren't perfect. This game is all about getting supplies to get better gear, to get back in the game, to do better the next time you're in there. And you have to use the beginning guns for a while. Guns like the Rattler aren't exactly the most satisfying to use. They're fairly reliable, but once you start playing with an anvil, you really start feeling the difference, which is a green gun compared to an uncommon gray gun. I personally like the different ammo types in this game. Light being good against flesh, medium and heavy, and other ammo types being good against arc robots. I thought light ammunition was a little underwhelming until I started using it in PvP fights and just started mowing people down. The combat with the arcs, although, I mean, don't get me wrong, it can be annoying at times and ruin your run and all that kind of stuff, especially Rocketeers. Oh my gosh, how many, anybody you guys relate out there, how many phenomenal runs end with you exploded into a million pieces as you're at the extraction. The Arc robots are done so well. It's some of the best enemy AI I've seen in a game recently. And no, I don't mean like AI, like image generate. I mean like an actual enemy behavior intelligence, artificial intelligence that we made. The way they fly around, the way they can go into buildings, the way they react to your gunfire and kind of float and try to position themselves away from you, nailing another one of their rotors. It's really impressive, and it's impressive how many there are. There's so many different types already. There's ones that roll around, there's ones that fly, there's ones that have armor, and then of course there's the ones on the ground and anything bigger that are extremely terrifying. I love that I'm actually fearful of running into a bunch of arcs, even when I feel like I totally have the upper hand. There's this one time that I got a legendary anvil mod, and I was like, I'm basically unkillable, and I almost lost it. Luckily, I safe slotted the friggin' augment right at the last second. I started fighting a drone, and then like 8 more came out, and I barely had any cover, and I freaking died.
You're kidding me.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a professional gamer. I mean, I play games for a profession, but I'm not a pro to the part where like, you know, I'm soloing the Queen arc, okay? I haven't done that. The only one that I did recently with CM Winter was fight the giant new one, and we got, I mean, I don't even know, an 800th into the fight before we died. I don't get how you guys are killing those things. I'm watching videos of people that are doing it. It's amazing. Oh, the one thing I have to say about PvP combat that I don't love is that knockout is the weakest punch of all time. I really think what it should be, especially, you know, I know in movies, everybody gets knocked out by being, you know, tapped on the head. But in a video game, I really think it'd be fun. Have you guys noticed that a lot of people will do voice lines before they die? They'll be like, you son of a bitch, and then you get knocked out and then the game's over. Okay.
Just like that.
I think that's great, and I think that players would play a lot more into it if the knockout channeling looked different. Instead of just being that kind of, you know, like Sandlot knuckle duster, like, I'm gonna get you, bink. Instead of that, I really think it should be one character getting on top of another and continuously punching them in the face. I know it's kind of graphic, but it's a video game, relax. If it was somebody getting punched over and over, I think like I would totally be on mic being like, tuh, tuh, please don't, and then you eventually knock him out. That would actually knock somebody out, getting hit that many times. That's how they should do it, in my opinion. As much as I do love the PvP in this game, I do wish it happened a little more often. Shoot.
Unlike other extraction shooters, Ark has people running around all over the place. And like I said earlier, it feels like everybody has a mic, and if not, they're like really good at using emotes, just saying like, don't shoot. But it's been so interesting to see the player culture shift from the server slam to the full release of the game. Back in the server slam, it was freaking chimp empire, man. Everybody was just ripping each other to shreds over apricots and olives just to feed our chickens back at home. I was there for the Battle of Lemon Hill. There was no fight or flight, it was just fight everyone on site.
I'm gonna get my head blown off, I guarantee it. This game's awesome, dude. I was doing exactly what you're doing, almost exactly where you were, and a guy shot me in the back of the head with a sniper rifle. Oh, just like that! Oh my gosh! What are the odds? That's amazing.
But now, since the release, it seems like everybody's started to get on the same page of like, okay, maybe the Arks are the real enemy. Maybe it's not my fellow man. Personally, I run across people that are friendly all the time, especially in solo lobbies. I know it's different with squads. Squads still seem to have a lot more PvP. It's boys getting in, being boys, just getting into tussles. And girls, there's girls playing. They actually run into girls all the time in Ark, it's crazy.
It might be guys using that filter. They have like an AI female voice filter in this game, but not important. And I'm not against the friendliness in this game. Like, I actually really enjoyed it, and I cooperate with people all the time in the game. I really struggle with making a black hat move and just killing somebody after I heard their human voice come out of their player character and greet me wholesomely.
I'm trying to surprise you. Yeah, okay.
I did not see you on the piano. Wait. Here, I got the skill thing for you, just in case you get left.
Yes.
I think it's pretty good.
Thank you, I am.
That's kind of a struggle to, you know, shoot somebody in the face right after that. But I have been a little concerned about the dialogue around PvP. I see on the Reddit and stuff, people are saying that absolutely for no reason should you have to PvP. We should just be collecting our loot and getting out of the map safely altogether. And I'm like, dude, the point of the game is to make guns to fight things. And half of those things are other humans. You're gonna lose stuff, you're gonna die. It's a video game. You aren't really stocking up your loot in a post-apocalyptic world yet. But I think extraction shooters are such great games to make clips out of and have dramatic moments with because there's stakes on the line. You know, I'm trying to get footage for this game and I'm running around and no one's attacking me. Everybody is just communicating and stuff, and I'm like, it low-key has kind of turned into like this Animal Crossing simulator in a realistic world. Like, we're just farming lemons and getting stuff for our roosters and going through kitchens, waving to neighbors. It seemed to have lost a little bit of its teeth.
Nice fit.
For the assist.
Yep.
I like it because it looks a lot like the one you've got on. All right, well, happy trails.
You too. We should be fighting. We should be slitting each other's throats and watching the blood drain out of our corpses. Ugh.
And I also think it has to do with the fact that if you are doing quest lines and stuff, you are playing with a lot of new players going down the same paths as them. I feel like it probably is a little different if you're going for a straight up loot path that you found online in like red loot territories. Those are probably hotter and people ready to kill each other. I've also seen clips of people working together really well and taking down giant arcs. So, you know, I definitely see many reasons why you should cooperate with other raiders running around. I just feel a little weird feeling bad every time I use my gun in a game about getting better gear to make better guns. That being said, since they added the new map, Praying Mantis, sorry, I didn't write down the name, whatever the new map is, it's heavy close quarters combat, and I feel like you can't not engage in PvP in that map. And this is what I kind of like that the Embark fellas are doing, because I was like, maybe you mark certain maps as PvP focused or PvE focused, but instead I feel like what they've done is they've just designed their next maps for PvP or for PvE, and it kind of encourages it instead of blatantly telling you, you have to do this thing in this map. It's pretty genius, and I've seen so many clips of that new map where people are just slaughtering each other, including me. At the beginning of the game, it was also really annoying to get into lobbies where you were one player, but you were still put into a game with other squads. Solos and squads and duos were mixed, and it felt really unfair, or like you were looting a body and you never knew if somebody else was gonna come out of the bushes. Luckily, they've seemed to fix that, where solos are with solos, trios are with trios, and duos, they just like shadow dropped that there's actually a duos mode now. And I'm like, why would you shadow drop that? I feel like that would get a lot of players to like announce that. One gripe I totally have is, man, I hate these games that lock the player party count at 3. It's such an odd number, literally. If I'm playing duos, I'm playing with the only friend available. But if I'm playing with 2 other friends, it's likely that I'm already in a party with another 3rd friend. You know, a group draws a crowd. What I'm getting at is there's so many times where we started playing this game and 4 people, including me, were online to play the game, and we just had to do like separate games of duos. Maybe there's a case to be made about like, I don't know, pacing with a 3-man group rather than a 4-man group. Maybe it gets too busy. But like, personally, dude, you have the player count. You guys have like over 460,000 active players. Like, add us quads, okay? Now, I want to talk about a part of Ark Raiders that isn't the most stellar thing in the world, and that's talking about menu and user interface design. I'll keep this pretty brief. I'll just say you are constantly running out of stash size and inventory space, which I feel like every extraction shooter is going to kind of run into at some point. But the thing that really gets my grub is the time it takes to get everything together to go into the next game. My buddy recommended this. He's like, there should be a weapon loadout button that you custom make, where you can track the supplies of a build that you rebuild and use to go out into the surface. And I think think this is a great idea because I just hate, I lose everything in a match. I go back out. I use my parts to craft individual quick use items, my bandages, my shield rechargers. I make the ammo that I ran out of. I make the guns that I don't have anymore. I make each individual attachment, get those attachments, put it onto the gun, make sure I actually have a shield and a backpack augment, and then we're ready to go to the next game. And I know we can use a free loadout, and luckily the friggin' free loadout is generous as heck. I do love that part, Ark, thank you very much. But I think just to build everything to get you into another match is just so discombobulated. Going between the traders, the workshops, back to the menu, to your stash, back to the workshop, it's all a little cumbersome, and I wish it was a little more streamlined. They've done a few things where you can, for instance, upgrade your gun right from your stash menu. That stuff is good. They just need to push more into that. I also don't think that the onboarding for Ark Raiders is the smoothest right now either. To new players, to even people that are just coming back at the launch, talking about veterans like me, a veteran of Lemon Hill, it's a long story. I was a little confused by things like, what's the difference between recycling and salvaging? And I'm sure I'm not alone here, where you start recycling gear that just says it can be used for only crafting materials until you realize that, hey, those toasters that you thought were nothing, they're extremely vital for the next quest that you're about to get in 10 minutes. And that goes the same with Scrappy Doo quests. I did not realize he needed a dog collar and a cat bed. But whatever, you learn your lesson. A thing that kind of happened later in the game that I got fooled by too was the expeditions. I could probably read better. This is probably mainly my fault. But I really thought the expedition was gonna be like a big truck-sized version of Scrappy the Chicken, where we just get like huge loads of maybe even more rare gear instead of common items that Scrappy usually gets. Until I realized, nope, this expedition thing is really for the hardcore players that are willing to prestige and basically delete their character once they've gotten everything unlocked to get a few extra in-game boosts. I really think they also need to include a skin to that prestige thing. You are losing a lot to go all the way back and lose all your blueprints and all that stuff. If you want me to sacrifice all that time and unlocks, you gotta give me something that makes players know that I am a true video game addict. Ooh, this thing's getting foggy. Speaking of skins, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure about Ark's whole style. A lot of these outfits, including mine, look pretty goofy. Now, there's plenty that do look cool to a degree, but at first I was like, what is the vibe we're going for? Like retro, future, Scrappy? But it's kind of grown on me. I wouldn't say I hate it. Something that I have theorized though, and let me know what you guys think of this. I have a little bit of a conundrum with the cosmetics in this game. Let me say, I'm a fanboy of Embark, okay? And I really think they do things pretty ethically. Like they even just decreased the prices of the skins and gave us retroactive points in case you did already buy a skin. Like that's cool. And I've spent a lot of money on skins from the Embark. In the finals, I'm a dumb whore. I'm a sucker for a skin, okay? I'm an artist. I like visual. You got third person. I want to see my guy look cool and upgrade. And unfortunately, in this game, you can really only do that through money. I know that there's a deck kind of battle pass system. I don't know about you guys, but I think it sucks this season. No offense, Ark. And I'm sure it's going to get really cool in the future. I mean, like, the battle passes for the finals are amazing. But here's the deal. The finals is free. They make their money through purely cosmetic items. And I feel like with Ark, we pay for the game. And even then, I still don't think it's a total problem. Like, having a game that you buy and having in-game purchases. I kind of am almost against it though, because it's an extraction shooter scavenging game. And I feel like at the conception of this game, armor and the way your character looks, much like gathering gear in something like a PUBG Battle Royale, I feel like you would get your armor and stuff out in the world. You would pick it up and equip it and your guy would change over time. But in this game, the only way your character really changes visually is through pulling out your wallet. I have a sneaking suspicion that this game did have some sort of system like that where you could go gather gear over time, but the old greed came into the picture and was like, what if we don't have an armor system or a clothing system and we just make people buy for it because it's doing extremely well over on the final side? I could be wrong. Again, I'm a fanboy of the Embark. I'm not saying that they're trying to hoodwink us or anything like that. Just a little piece of me died when I realized that you can't get armor through in-game. Your options in this third-person game are really reduced to a microtransactional store. But that is pretty much everything I want to say about Ark Raiders. I think it's a phenomenal game, and it's come from a studio that's innovating and trying new things. As much as IGN thinks that they're not innovating because the pickaxe is also in Fortnite. That take is just incredible. I also think it's pretty wild that this kind of AA team just absolutely trampled over the Bungie behemoth with their game Marathon that like kind of was doing playtests at the same time, and Marathon was getting lukewarm results and even a lot of hatred over their stolen art, and Ark Raiders is just boom, soaring out of this freaking stratosphere. I love to see it. I'm actually very surprised that it's gotten this big of a player base, 460,000 online players on just Steam alone, by the way, compared to the finals, which only, roughly has like 20,000 players online on Steam. I still want to see more people get into the finals, man. It's just too good. I still play it. What I like about these strong extraction shooters too, feels like they never really go bad either. Like Hunt Showdown, I still gladly will come back to and have a great time with friends. And even if you start to, lose interest in Ark Raiders or another extraction shooter, what's great is everybody is constantly getting new gear and losing it. So you're never really falling behind if you take a break and come back after a few months and get to experience their new content, and you're still on the same level as everybody else. Well done, Embark. Thanks for an amazing game, and thank you for watching my video.